So this is Isla Boston. She is a second grader now at Boise-Eliot Humboldt. And last week, we were identifying students and nominating students for showing perseverance and specifically using that breathing tool. And Isla was nominated by two different teachers separately last week, by Miss Cachado for being able to kind of hang in there and be in her class and use her skills to persevere through all of her work. And then also from Miss Smith, because she said she sees her use that breathing tool to kind of stay balanced and focused. So my question, Isla, my first question is, how do you kind of stay calm and not give up when things are tough?
Well, usually if something's really hard and if instead of giving up, I let the teacher know that something's hard and I say the alternative way I did it.
Okay, so then you tell them another way to go about it so that they don't just get stuck in one way of doing things?
Yeah.
Nice, that's a really good idea. And so do you ever use breathing, like your breathing tool, to calm down when you're feeling frustrated?
Yeah, when if I tripped, because I hurt my knee the other day and it really hurt, so I use my breathing tool.
You do? Nice. And I've noticed that for myself, I've noticed that sometimes I use it without even thinking, right? Like I'm taking deep breaths because I'm mad or I'm frustrated or because I'm hurt. And then I realize later, like, oh, that helped me calm down. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
So another thing I was going to ask you, because I know this year is kind of an odd year. You know, we're stuck on computers instead of in our school, which we would all love to be in. And I know in previous years, you've been with us for 2 years now, and you, I believe, have been a Badger for both of those years. Is that true?
Yes. I started being a Badger when I was in a kindergarten. Yeah.
That's what I thought. And so some of our students, some of our new kindergartners, or some of the students that have moved here while we've been in the pandemic and coronavirus times, haven't been able to be in the school and kind of know what a Badger means. So what does it mean to be a Badger at Boise-Eliot Humboldt?
It means that you're responsible and you can walk ahead and you don't have to walk in lines in the halls, and you can get lunch by yourself, and there's a Badger table, and so there, and you get certain advantages and there's a Badger party, and there's certain advantages that that people that aren't Badgers don't really have.
And so to become a Badger, you have to kind of show all 3 core values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what the 3 core values are at Boise-Eliot Humboldt?
Yes, perseverance, community, and integrity.
Nice job. And so when you're showing those, then that in order to earn all those extra privileges, you have to kind of show those just sometimes?
All the time.
All the time. Whenever you're in class, whenever you're in the hallway, whenever you're at recess. And so one thing I'm going to be thinking about is I got to figure out what we're going to do this year. Because first, we don't even get to have pictures the way that we normally have pictures. So I'm trying to figure out how I would even create badges. And then second, we can't really get them to them. So I'm going to be doing some thinking, and I want all of you, and Isla, you included, to be thinking about how we could maybe create a Badger type recognition, ways to recognize students for showing all those skills while we're still virtual. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I wanted to make sure people heard from you. So, as a 2-time Badger, what it means and how to kind of show it. And then we can think about how we can make that work this year too. Is there any advice, Isla, you have for any new students at Boise-Eliot Humboldt before we end our talk today?
I would just say, if you sometimes feel scared if you're new, it's okay. If you feel scared, you can just tell your teacher and they would probably make you feel better.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Isla, and keep up the good work, okay?
Yeah.
Hello, BEH students, families, and staff. First, I just want to take another minute to just thank Isla for, taking some time to interview with us. She was one of our winners last week, and each week I'm going to be looking for someone out of the group that got nominated for the previous week around our core values and exhibiting them within their schoolwork and in the BEH community. So without further ado, I want to announce this week's, or I guess it was last week's, winners. And last week, it was a focus on any of the core values because we didn't teach a new tool last week. We were just reinforcing using the tools that we had already learned. So starting out with kindergarten, Mr. John wanted to nominate Elijah Gutierrez. He said he is always asking questions and looking for clarity in his work. Nice work, Elijah. Miss Ellie wanted to recognize Quinn Taggart this week. She said Quinn attends every class meeting and academic meetings. He stays engaged and participates in discussions. Quinn is polite and friendly towards others and is very patient when other students are taking their turn to answer questions. I love his smile and eagerness to learn. Also in kindergarten, Miss Kelly wanted to recognize Daxton Grumer. From the first day of school, Daxton has shown all of our school values: perseverance, community, and integrity. He participates and is attentive in all live meetings every day. He completes all seesaw assignments on time and follows directions. Daxton is above the learning targets in all other learning platforms as he challenges himself to learn. Thank you, Daxton, for coming to school each day, doing your best, sharing your great ideas and sense of humor with all of us. That was Miss Kelly's. So now we're going to move on to first grade. And Miss Lauren wanted to recognize Joanna Rogers. She said Joanna goes to all her meetings. She does all of her work. She is positive and encourages others. She asks about teachers' days and lives. She even keeps her cool when her little brother wants to participate in our morning meetings. I nominate her for all of the core values. Ms. Casey wanted to recognize Varence Combs. She said Varence is persevering. He is showing up and working hard, especially at reading. He has a positive attitude and is a kind friend. And Miss Sheila wanted to recognize Cormac McCann Schaefer. She said Cormac regularly participates in meetings even when he was out of the state and out of the country. Thank you for your dedication and perseverance, Cormac. Then moving into second grade, Miss Kashada wanted to recognize Asa Scott Snow. She said Asa practices the tool of perseverance while in small groups. When reading gets difficult, he keeps practicing until he's able to read the word he's working on. Nice job, Asa. Also in second grade, Miss Peters wanted to recognize Serenity. She said that she gave a good example of the tool and using it over each of the past 3 weeks. In third grade, Ms. Porter wanted to recognize Kingston Bircher. She said Kingston fully participates and regularly attends all of his group meetings. Ms. Hutzel wanted to recognize Mia Doyle. She consistently supports the community by coming to class prepared, sharing her thinking, and remaining calm and focused. Moving on to fourth grade, Ms. Miles Gonzalez wanted to recognize Damian Kay. She said she wanted to recognize him for community because he's been helping her lead the icebreakers at the beginning of community meetings. He always participates in their discussions. He compliments the creativity of others, and he wants to run for student council. That's something I should talk about at the end of this. Miss Blanton wanted to recognize Serenity Gonzalez. She's always a thoughtful participant, engages in activities, and connects with her peers in a positive way. And then in fifth grade, Mr. Swatala wanted to recognize Nima Cruz. He said she always meets all the core values. She is always positive and supportive of other students. Mr. Sky wanted to recognize Django Ring Huerta. Django has been so committed to his online learning. He frequently contributes valuable insights in class meetings and often further deepens our mathematical thinking in small math groups. He also consistently completes all seesaw assignments given. He has been such a delight to work with this year, and I thank him for all of his efforts and participation so far. That was from Mr. Sky. And then we had one specialist that wanted to get an award or a nominee today, and that was Ms. Larkin Miller, Ms. Jen. She said she wanted to nominate Frambois Canucci Kleffner. She said she always attends class, listens to feedback, creates artwork beyond assignment expectations, and has such a positive attitude toward learning. She displays her best work effort and is eager to learn and share her talents. So nice work to all of this week's nominees. There were a couple things that this made me think of. The first one, if you were listening in our interview with Isla earlier, I'm trying to think through how we're going to recreate our badgers this year when we don't necessarily have school photos and we're not in the building to be able to do badges. So I'm going to be thinking on that, and if you have good ideas, feel free to share them with me. And then secondly, as Damian K brought up, student council is another thing we want to kind of start thinking about. And we kind of had put it off as we were working through distance learning and getting all of our systems in place and getting through the real presidential election. And so come around after winter break, right around January, is when we're going to start thinking about student council and how do we start structuring that and bringing back our student council this year. So if that's something you're interested in, this would be a good time to start thinking about how you might want to share those thoughts with your classmates, with your teachers before we get into it in the winter. So I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe, and I will hopefully see you all virtually next week.